He didn't doubt Tae or feel like he was cheating on him. No, he was just trying to protect Tae by putting a GPS chip in his phone. He was getting threats, and he never protected him. But when they assaulted him for something, without letting him speak, he got angry and snapped. He not used to people talk rudely to him. He was already angry when he picked up his phone. He didn't even open his personal messages. He was angry because he was threatened by people he didn't know, and when they asked him what he was doing, with a tone, he lost it. How dare they doubt him? And he had been nothing but trustworthy. He was nothing like Jungkook. How dare he compare him? After all, he had done for him. And Jungkook had never gotten threat before. Yes, he had dealt with the different people who gave empty threats, but these phone calls and messages were serious because those people know Theon. He concluded that it started after the marriage Theon. It was in the mess because he was with him, and Theon dared to blame him. But he knew that his reaction was not very polite either. He basically told Tae he deserved to be dumped, and that was very wrong. On this part, did he want to apologize? Yes, but he was still very angry. How he had fixed things, or nothing would even be the same. Jungkook stood up for the chair and buttoned up to move out of his office thinking clearly about the next move. What did it happen? Whenever he starts seeing the happiness on their face, something happened between them to drown it out. It's like two steps forward and then backward. But as soon as he opened the door, he was blocked by the person he didn't want to see after the text messages he received for him. Why are you here, Sofia? Moving back and closed the door, he sat down on the chair and toward chair to her and said, although he was very annoyed by her presence, he still tried act and needed to handle things professionally. I heard what happened. How could you, Jungkook? He said. Sofia was a beautiful woman. Yet give her that. She was young, independent, beautiful, clever, and professional, but still, she was a spoiled rich princess that had been fed for a long time. But he disliked a lot of things in her. But he still considered her as a friend, an important person in his life. How could I what? He raised an eyebrow, annoyed at her behavior. She hissed and stood up, rounded the desk, and stood in front of him. How could you do this to me, Jungkook? I thought you liked me and was going to propose me. You were meant to be together. She looked at him so angrily. He thought she might hit him with her words the way she was saying. Jungkook sighed and stood up for the chair. He rubbed his eyes and looked at her with annoyance. I never gave you any hint about anything. I never let you on. You're just a friend and nothing else. You know it all. Now what do you think isn't my fault? Now, please excuse me. I have an important meeting. Any other time, he would head out. He was too irritated to do all that. That's why he was so against a relationship. You smile at women and they think you're in love with them. It's an Sophia wrapped her arms around his torso, but backed made him cringe. Jungkook closed his eyes and sighed. Sophia, please, don't do this. I never let you on. He removed her hand for her waist politely and turned to her face. Her eyes were filled with the tears. You're such an idiot. You always knew that. I like you. But you were so high and might be accept that, Jungkook, she yelled, pushing him back. Look, I'm sorry. I ever did something that made you think that I'm interested in you. Now, please, if you'll excuse me. Jungkook, we need to talk. She ran her hands through her hair, aggressively. Her eyes were filled with the tears. Later, he nodded and walked out of his office. He didn't have time to discuss things right now, but he had made sure to talk Sophia in today. She looked, and Jungkook had to admit that he was a little nervous for the day, although he was currently sitting in the meeting room. His mind was somewhere else. Even since he married Theon, he had gone back and meet his family. They'll meet him once, an occasion, but that was it. He had no intention with his family, and today would be a day he could meet his father. Mr. Kim is a man who scares someone in just one look. Jungkook wasn't scared, but he was nervous to meet him because he didn't know what to expect. He wished he didn't have to go. Damn, he cursed. Totally forget that. What the heck? He was the already silent room, full in the silence, and he gazed up. All the gentlemen were looking and holding their breath like if they exhale, it would cause them death. They had heard him curse. Of course they did. He was pretty loud. He looked at that, and then they looked more paler than. Now Jungkook felt bad for the poor guy. He might be thinking that Jungkook didn't like his presentation. And the truth was, he didn't even hear or see any sight. The poor man looked at his knee. Would give any moment he would fall on the ground. Just give me a drive, and I'll check on later. Jungkook started standing up and buttoned his shirt. The man barely nodded and unplugged the device or the laptop before handing it to Jungkook. Why? Why did he have to go through his family at dinner? And why was he even feeling nervous about it all? All of a sudden, he was a tough man. He was not supposed to be nervous. He had been in front of many restless people. No one managed to make him anxious. If he couldn't face the man for an hour, but he did, they spend his whole life with him. Maybe because he was his son. If it's normal relationship, maybe he had known what to do, how to treat his wife. But his relationship with Tae was not normal. Sure, he was slowly and steadily trying to accept Tae as his own wife. But still, it didn't mean that they were suddenly too cozy with each other. No, that was way easier said than done. Every time he tried to take a step forward, the thought of his missing brother pulled him backwards. No one knew about Jungkook. Jungkook was gone like a smoke in the air.